Hello, y'all. We are here to discuss the breakdown of Basketball Wives Season 9, Episode 3. Y'all know I typically don't do reviews unless something very major happened because I'm just not into doing the reviews for the shows like that. But of course, the colorism has came up again, and I've been seeing some interesting perspectives. Some people thinking that OG is taking it too far, and then some people see OG side. But we've just gotten some interesting tea. Now, OG has released on her Instagram a whole hour breakdown of the conversation that she had with Chris. Well, 52 minutes to be exact. Um, 52 minutes and some odd seconds of a conversation. So I want to go ahead and dive into that right there. That exposed the hypocrisy of Christian. So we only got in the scene 5 minutes, and they edited out the fact that OG even really had a conversation. We only saw where she called Christian a hoe under her breath, this, that, and the third, and that she was dismissive, this, that, and the third. But when we heard the entire conversation, which is 52 minutes long, and I will leave the link down below. Shout out to OG. It shined a light on certain situations. Number one, the fact that OG took the time to explain the nuances of how Featurism goes into colorism and everything else, and she broke it down so eloquently. She wasn't rude, this, that, and the third. She also, and then there was a lot of breaking of the fourth wall, which is why most of that was probably edited out, because they was talking about how she don't need to be put, she don't need to put on for the cameras and all this, and Christian and them acknowledged that they didn't know each other at the time that she was invited to OG's birthday party. She just showed up for a check, this, that, and the third, and then OG retorted back that, yeah, and I helped you get that check, and that's why all that was probably edited out. Also, Jennifer chiming in, she actually did not chime in until 45 minutes into the conversation. But due to them editing it down so much, it looked like Jennifer immediately chimed in and was going at Christian. But in reality, there was a whole 40-minute conversation that took place where every now and again Jackie interjected and kept the peace for the most part. But we're going to get on Jackie in a moment too, because she had some hypocrisy in this. But yeah, Jennifer didn't come into it until like about 44 minutes, 45 minutes into the conversation. So OG just doggone shook the whole table and revealed everything, honey. So once again, check out the link to OG's channel, and that link, I'm going to give y'all the direct link to the 52-minute conversation, because once again, she broke down everything. She broke down her experience on the double standards, and how she even called out the fact that you didn't think it was creepy that, Evelyn went out her way in a third world country to somehow print out receipts where they was on a remote. And shout out to REMM3, he also notated this first. If y'all haven't seen his channel, love his channel. Check out his channel. But he broke it down, and I ain't never thought about that. That the fact that they're in a remote third, they in a country where a fax machine is not readily available where they was located. So you went out your way to have production go to a printing shop somewhere to print up these receipts. But OG actually having raw receipts on her phone was deemed creepy. Like, that double standard right there, I can see the subliminal colorism. It's inadvertent. And like I said, it's inadvertent colorism that a lot of the castmates are not even aware that is going on. And some people fail to realize that you can also be light-skinned and also be a victim of the colorism and Featurism by a lighter-skinned person, i.e. Tammy Roman. Because Jackie, this is where she fucked up. Jackie talking about, well, I've been called crazy and angry and delusional, this, that, and the third. It ain't just been OG. Nobody haven't said that it wasn't just OG. We're pointing out that it's been a narrative consistent with every dark-skinned black woman that they could possibly pin it on. The only exception is the ones that fit the mold of kissing their ass. Hence why Jennifer didn't have to deal with this issue for the longest, because she was darn gonna kissing darn gonna Evelyn's ass. But every other black person, they managed to depict them as the angry darn gone black woman. And the ones that they couldn't, honey, they got gone. The girl that was on Basketball Wives LA episode 1, the one that was more classy, demure, and darn gone sat back, honey, we can't even darn gone pull up her name. She was gone by the second episode. Who else? There was another one that was more on the professional side that just stuck around for one season, got gone real quick, honey. The ones that they can't frame a narrative on, honey, they get gone real quick. But the other ones, they drag through the mud. They drug Royce through the mud. Tammy Roman, they drug her through the mud. That and the third. And people want to say, well, Tammy's Roman's light skin. Yeah, but she's dark compared to darn on Shiny and Evelyn, who darn on picked on her. And then people say, well, what about Malaysia? People forget that when Malaysia was first brought around, the original crew, Malaysia was deemed ghetto, this, that, and the third. And even when we first got introduced to Malaysia, we got to remember, Malaysia had to pop darn going, Miss darn going carpet munching darn going, what's her name? Gorvan, Laura Govan. Not the one that was darn going sleeping with darn going Shaq. The other one, the darn gone strong face one that got mollywopped. Now, I don't give a damn that you just had a baby 3 weeks ago, honey. Malaysia darn gone bop that behind, honey. Talking about you sound like a hood rat name. I knew you was a hood rat. This, that, and the third. The same chick who on the next 15 said that she wished there was more light skin. Like, she was just blatant with her shit. See, it started way back then. And y'all know I've been watching all this from the beginning. So, and my memory is like an elephant, honey. Some of y'all say I got epidermal, what's it called? Epigenetic memory or something, where it's like I have a photographic memory. I can't think of the, y'all put that particular term down below again. But one of y'all said the technical name for it, where I have a photographic memory. Yeah, I tend not to forget shit, y'all. And speaking of not forget shit, let me darn gonna turn this fan on, honey. It's getting hot. It's getting hot in here. But I am not taking off no clothes, honey. And besides, I've been slacking in the gym, honey. This body ain't as defined, honey. But anyways, yeah. It started with Malaysia being called a hood rat. And by the girl on the next 15 who said she wished it was more light-skinned people on the show, even though it was equal. You had Tiffany Pollard, you had Claudia Jordan. It was just as many light-skinned people on the show as it was dark-skinned. It's not like she was just one or two people. So the fact that she said that made it suggest that she wished there was more light-skinned people than dark-skinned people on the show. So now factoring in that mindset, now we got to go back to when she called Malaysia hood rat, and we can say, okay, the intent was definitely negative. So this shit's been going on ever since then. Also, way back when they used to call Jackie Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Who was the main ones always saying the shit? Shiny, Evelyn, Tammy, you was guilty of darn on participating in the bullshit too. Drea when she was there. And then the Kiss ass crew, honey. All of them darn gone demon darn gone Jackie to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Darker one amongst all the group, honey. So now that we know that the narrative has been established, the narrative has always been there, and OG just brought it to light. She's now being deemed, oh no, this is isolated, this is just focused to her. No, it has not been focused to her, like Jackie said. But Jackie dumbass don't realize that she's been a victim of it by way of being dark too. Now we thinking that you got to be chocolate complexion to be considered dark skinned, and that is not necessarily the damn case. And Jackie, you is not that damn brown where you think you in the light skin category. Like when I think of brown skin teetering on the verge of like, we think of like Queen Latifah, we think of Jada Pinkett Smith, we think of Chloe and Holly, who is that brownish, orangish tone shade that's almost tipping into light skin, but they're still brown. We think of Sanaa Lathan or somebody like that maybe. But girl, you is a deep, rich brown, honey. You're like, you're deeper than Cynthia Bailey. Like, I don't understand why you don't understand. But then again, people had to point out the colorism issue with Jackie, in the fact that she, favors her lighter skinned daughter over the darker skinned one that's richly chocolate, that's not too far off from OG's complexion. So now we got to realize that Jackie can't really see things clearly. But yeah, the whole thing was 52 minutes long, where OG explained herself ever so eloquently, honey. Explained everything in detail. She broke down the history of it, about Featurism and everything. And then here you got Christian's ass playing darn on death. And the issue why I can understand why OG is over it is because outside of filming, they've already addressed this shit several times. This shit happened way back in 2019. We're in 2021. And Christian is playing the game of, since it was not aired on Basketball Wives, I'm just going to forget all the stuff that people has told me and educated me on, and we're going to act like I don't know shit. And darn OG is like, bitch, this is reality television, and you is really affecting my real life. I'm not going to turn shit on and turn shit off for the sake of a motherfucking storyline. This is what happened. We done had a conversation. I'm over it. And that's that. We're not going to keep going back and forth with this bullshit. But Christian is acting like, oh, I need educating on this. I need you to teach me this, that, and the third. Now, for the people who don't know this is why Christian is full of damn shit. Christian is full of shit because guess what? She was already thoroughly educated on this way back. And matter of fact, I got the exact date right here. Because y'all know I watch Here for the Food with darn on Melissa Ford. So November 13, 2019, honey, darn on Christian's ass had a conversation with Melissa Ford, Chantel, and Blue Taluzma on I'm Here for the Food. And they had a conversation for 1 hour and 4 minutes and 50 seconds breaking down colorism and how you can be dark skinned and also be an exception and be a token black person, and they can still target a dark skinned person. A Blue Taluzma educated you all on this all the way back in November 2019. Now I'm trying to figure out in November of 2020, exactly 1 year later, why all of a sudden this all just slipped your mind. See, this is the bullshit that nobody ain't picking up on. If you're somebody who is just watching the show, this is why I don't get mad with James Caldwell, because, shout out to Spill It Boy TV. Yang, 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 yang. Oh, I love me some Spill It Boy. But I had to clarify to him when he's having conversations like this, you got to be real careful on, saying that somebody is wrong and this and that they're not listening. Because number one, you don't know the extent of the entire conversation. We got to realize that stuff is being edited out. And if we seen in this case, a lot of stuff was drastically edited out against darn on OG. So when you're looking at a 5-minute conversation of a conversation that really took part over 52 minutes, and then you have to realize that outside of the show, other conversations have occurred, and which is why OG is really, just over it, because she's like, why do I have to keep darn on reiterating myself, and we done had conversations, and people have educated you on this. That's why you just can't, in certain conversations like this, you cannot just limit it to looking at the show. You got to really go outside the show. So that's the one drawback with Spill It Boy. Spill It Boy focuses so much on the shows that when it comes to like real life problematic situations such as this, he misses the point. But once again, he's a reviewer that looks at it just from the entertainment, version of it. He's not really looking at the seriousness of the situation. So, like I said, nothing against Spill It Boy. But a lot of people are feeling like Spill It Boy, where it's like, well, I don't understand why OG is doing this. Is she doing this for a storyline? Why did she come back? Did she come back for a check? We about to address that too. People don't understand that sometimes you can be locked in a contract and you are obligated to still fulfill the thing unless they want to let you go. And they would have looked bad if they would have had OG not come back following all this heat. So essentially they forced her hand and forced her to come back. She did not have no real control. Oh, now she could have acted like in front of the public that she had a little bit of leeway. No. And Tammy Roman was the same victim of that. Tammy Roman checked out seasons ago, but she used to always tell us, as per the contract, I'm back here, so I got to do what I got to do. So I believe that OG's in the same situation. She's back here because she got to do what she got to do. This is not Real Housewives of Atlanta. They is not making money like that over there, honey. So let's not act like she's getting a huge check. And once again, we talking about somebody who's actually a law grad. She has the credentials to be a whole lawyer. And then I think she got several other degrees on top of that. The Nigerians, they tend to have 3 to 4 different, careers up in their pocket. Shout out to her darn on cousin over there on Real Housewives of Potomac. Darn on every time she got a chance, darn on Miss Wendy or Supple, I always darn on brag about the motherfucking darn on degrees, honey. You will address me as Dr. Wendy, bitch. That's not really her cousin, but you know how them Nigerians get down, especially in them, shout out to y'all ghetto cousins that be darn on trying to claim us and y'all in the inbox. I know each and every one of us had a Nigerian cousin try to say that they could hook us up with some money, but we just got to give them our whole life story by way of our bank information, our social security number, your mother's maiden name. Like, they be just bold and blatant with it, but that's another story for another day, honey. But yeah, it's like, girl, we done had the conversations. You acting like you haven't. And then here's the other thing about you being on I'm Here for the Food way back in 2019. Blue Taluzma is actually an Afro-Latina. And here she is right here. And the thing is about Afro-Latina, whether you're dark-skinned or light-skinned, the premise is if somebody looks at you and they think about, if you don't speak and you see blackness first, that's the premise of Afro-Latina. You don't have the privilege of jumping in and out whenever you want to. So, and then people think that you only have to be dark-skinned to be Afro-Latina. No, you don't. Because a lot of people, they think of Blue Taluzma and Amara Negra and Juju as the run-of-the-mill Afro-Latinas and think that light-skinned women who are unambiguous don't fit that mold. No, that's not true. Because the thing is this, Lala, most people think of Lala as black. Lala Anthony is actually Lala Vasquez. Lala is actually Puerto Rican. Most people don't know that. They just think of her as an unambiguous light-skinned woman. But she's darn going Afro-Latina. Another person is Tammy Roman herself. Tammy is black and Puerto Rican. She made that known way back in like season 2 of Basketball Wives. So, and that once again shows the double standards of how somebody who is lighter, who is actually mixed race, can try to jump in and claim that they're Afro-Latina when it's convenient, versus somebody who is truly light-skinned but you can tell that they're black. They don't have that same privilege. Because when it came to Tammy was immediately called loud, ratchet, ghetto, disrespectful, hood, all these, that, and the third. She was deemed broke and they was making fun of her. And then Jennifer, you was joining in on the shit too, talking about you didn't know what a food stamp card looking like. Y'all was darn on being classes against darn on Tammy Roman. So on the flip side, it could even happen by people of your same complexion. Because Kristen keeps using this argument that, oh, we're the same complexion, I can't possibly be doing this to you. Honey, let me tell y'all a childhood story about DivaWuan. Honey, when I was young, even with my aesthetic, now my aesthetic is a lot closer to Christian's aesthetic than to OG's. Because my lips are not, and my lips were even thinner back then, and I used to smile like this, so I had the Beyonce effect going on with the non-existent top lip back then. Because my smile used to be like that versus like this. And then even now, I got full lips, but not full to the extent of somebody like OG. Cheekbones prominent, oval face, super long thin nose. And guess what? I still had darn on issues too. So we're not saying that mixed race, because people don't understand that bigotry can go both ways, and none of it's okay. But the predominant historical bigotry has always been against the unambiguous dark-skinned black woman. She's been deemed the mammy, the gorilla, all these characters, this, that, and the third. She's inherently violent, this, that, and the third. And then it be made the butt of jokes by their own black men. You have somebody like Kanye darn gonna rap, once I get put on, I'm gonna leave you for a white woman. We laughed at Kiki about then, and then look, 7 years later, he done up and married darn going the culture vulture Kim Kardashian. And now boo-hooing and crying now they done got divorced 7 years later. And he after she done drained your essence like all the other black men they done ran through. But you done got put on, and that's what you thought was the prize. So historically, there's a lot to go into when it comes to black women being judged. And even though some people like myself and Christian can say we've been picked on too, despite our thin nose and not necessarily being chocolatey complexion, we're like chocolate adjacent. Some people might consider us milk chocolate, cinnamon, bronze, cocoa, copper complexion, or whatever you want to. But honey, we damn sure ain't caramel. We ain't latte. We ain't darn on marshmallow color. We ain't beige. Damn sure ain't alabaster. So yeah, we experienced some shit, but we got to understand this, that in comparison to our more ethnic, West African feature-like counterparts, especially with darn on OG being fully African, we got to take that into consideration too, because y'all was xenophobic as well. And then that's what I'm not really realizing. But she did touch on that they did, that they were xenophobic. But that was more problematic than everything when they was making fun of her hair pieces and all of that. So it's like, not only was it darn on featurism and colorism, but there was xenophobia as well. I mean, this whole show is darn on problematic. It wouldn't surprise me if the 10th season is going to be its last season. I do believe that they're going to come back for a 10th season just because of the history of Basketball Wives. They're going to let it go off on an even 10. But and then the fact that, the viewership has tanked, but it is still around the same. Shiny can make the argument that, hey, you can't really cancel me at being at 500,000 views. But you have RuPaul's Drag Race, which is also an ensemble cast show, which probably costs a lot more to make than Basketball Wives. And they average around 600,000-700,000 views. So I'm going to give Shiny a little bit of leeway to try to save her ass for season 10. But they're going to take this shit off eventually. But, season 10, I'm going to predict right now is going to be the last season. I do believe that they're going to come back for one more season, and that's going to be the final season of Basketball Wives to wrap this shit up, because it's dying. But only on the historical principle of how long this show's been around and who Shawty is, and Shaq's pool. They're going to probably give her just one more season to go ahead and clear this shit on up, because this shit's already been aired out. Y'all had this darn going show filmed up in 2 weeks, and that's another reason why they cut out so much, because we found out that this shit did not really partake in the summertime. Now, they done told us that this shit was darn going happening. Like, they showed us the montage of, you know, what happened over the lockdown. And then they trying to make this shit seem like they did this 4 or 5 months later. And it's really not the case. Because if y'all really heard what was aired with Lamar Odom's wife, she mentioned about her son getting ready to go and enroll in the spring semester. But they did not edit this part out, that she also said that the spring semester starts in 60 days. Now, anybody who knows about the spring semester, you know that spring starts in January as far as the semester starting up. So that was a darn gone red flag right there, that if the spring semester starts in 60 days, this shit is recorded sometime in November. Now, during the deleted scenes that, you know, OG managed to put on her Instagram, we found out that not only was this shit filmed in November, but it was filmed after it was confirmed that Joe Biden was the president. Because you remember, for the first few days, we didn't know for a fact whether Joe Biden won or not. It was up in the air until, like, what, November the 11th? So the fact that Kristen made mention about the fact that, you know, about racism going on in the country, and that things might finally be changing now that we got a new president in office, that goes to show that at the minimum, that this scene was filmed sometime after the confirmation of Joe Biden, now President Biden. So just off of that alone, that was around November 12th. Now, why does the timeline matter? Because it was around a year ago to this date. Because on November 13th, once again, we mentioned that she was on I'm Here for the Food. She was on I'm Here for the Food on November 13th, 2019. Oh, well, at least this is when it was uploaded. But now this conversation you're having with OG was recorded around November 13th of 2020, exactly 1 year later. You see how things are coming back full circle, and Kristen is playing darn on dumb dipsy darn on black chick that don't know nothing, but you was educated by an actually unambiguous Afro-Latina that can speak Spanish. And now nobody's even calling out the hypocrisy. And once again, shout out to RMM3 for pointing this shit out about the fact that that Evelyn was just claiming that she was Afro-Latina her damn self. Now, if you was Afro-Latina, why is you now claiming that you can't be bigoted by way of your children who are half black or Phoebe's child? But instead of yourself, now you darn gonna taking yourself out of the situation. And that's once again acknowledging how she can just go in and out of blackness when she feels like it. Now, just last year, you was claiming that you was Afro-Latina. Now you saying that your connection to blackness, once again, shout out to RMM3 for pointing this out, you now saying that your connection to blackness is by way of your children. So the hypocrisy of it all. And then once again, I mean, there's so many darn contradictions in this shit, it don't make no damn difference. I mean, it doesn't make no sense. It don't make no damn difference to, you know, this situation of this show about to go away either, but that neither here nor there. But yeah, y'all, what is y'all thoughts on this shit? I think it is a hot mess. I'm sad that OG had to go through this shit. It's terrible. It's horrible. Just flat out disgusting. And honey, just let her out her contract and let her darn go on to better pastures, because I do see it for OG to be able to go somewhere else. The way that OG is, actually I can see her, you know, really bringing some sophistication and some, well, shit, she's in the LA though. I was about to say darn gone Housewives of Atlanta, just because of the fact that everybody else is there, but damn. Yeah, give OG her show with because people think that we can't have a show with people of color and black people, where it can be lighthearted, this, that, the third, a little bit of cagness, and once again, we're seeing that it's proven wrong with Bell Collective. Bell Collective is a hit without having to go to this extent. I do believe that if, you know, VH1 comes out with a Bell Collective like show, that OG would be a good person for that. Put CeCe on there, Royce Reed and all that, and also shout out to Royce Reed and them, because also from what I seen, Honey Royce Reed had to come in and explain, you know, elaborate on her experiences, and I dropped those receipts right here. So you had Royce Reed on, matter of fact, let me pull up the exact thing. Now y'all gonna see it when I edit this in, but I got to pull it up right now just to quote verbatim everything that Royce said. Oh, also CeCe chimed in as well. I dropped that receipt as well. And once again, she wasn't held accountable by calling doggone about insinuating that because CeCe is Asian and everything else, and there's this stereotype about Asian people with beauty parlor shops giving happy endings, and you know, CeCe actually owning an aesthetics practice, you would actually be disrespectful enough to insinuate that she's over there running a sex shop. And then you darn call her Ling Ling and then say, oh, just because everybody else has been saying it's appropriate. That's like a white person saying, well, everybody else around me has been saying monkey and mammy and all this, that, and the third. It's just been appropriate. Just because it's been acceptable by fellow ignorant people doesn't mean that it's appropriate. But the fact that that was laughed and glossed over and they just moved on to the next shows that she has a history of this doggone shit. And the fact that she has not been called out on it, and people saying that, because here's the kicker right here. People want to ignore OG's plight because of the fact that, because OG is OG. And because it's OG, Christian is making the argument, well, maybe I had this double standard because now I'm hearing the term favoritism. Shawnee's trying to use that narrative too, talking about, you can accuse me of being favoritism, using favoritism, but not bigoted and all this, that, and the third. No, because even with people that you did not have no issues with, such as CeCe ain't done nothing to none of y'all. Y'all damn sure can't darn depict CeCe as darn violent, because CeCe was running away from darn Evelyn when Evelyn tried to darn hit her upside the head with a whole palm bush. But y'all want to darn call OG violent. Nobody held Evelyn accountable on chasing a woman who was not trying to engage in any sort of combat down the road with a whole freaking palm bush in her hand. And then the fact that she nearly knocked your ass out, darn Shawnee, with a whole beer bottle, tried to jump over a table to whoop darn Jennifer's ass. All this, that, and the third. And none of this, at no point in time, was she asked to be on a separate stage. Because other castmates was inferior. They liked this, that, and the third. And darn Evelyn has actually displayed acts of violence that, would warrant her being separated. But at no point in time has Evelyn, Tammy, nor Jackie ever been darn separated off the stage. So that was a huge blatant double standard right there. But anyways, let's get into the exact quotes by oh shit, it ain't gonna let me pull it up. Hold on. Maybe it will. Oh shit, y'all. For whatever reason, on my computer, it's not letting me pull up the conversations. But I will annotate them right here of what Royce Reed and Evelyn said. See, that's the one drawback about having just one phone, and I don't have two. I'm looking at, I was trying to pull it up on my computer, but it's not pulling up. But Yeah, but that's the gist of everything, y'all. Like I said, she broke it down over a course of 52 minutes. She, and then if y'all go to I'm Here for the Food, you can learn about how the fact that you can be considered a token black woman who they can have issues with black people in general, but you can be the one-off exception and Christian, you're the one-off exception until they don't like your ass. It's just like Tammy Roman was the one-off exception. Malaysia is now part of the one-off exception. But guess what? At past moments, they darn on didn't see it for Malaysia. They didn't see it for Tammy Roman. Eventually, they might not see it for your ass. Because eventually, that's what history shows us with these girls. That all the dark-skinned women eventually get it down the road. It's a matter of time for you. Your number's coming up. But by the time it comes up, we probably won't see it because of the fact that, like I said, this show, in my humble opinion, they're going to close this whole shit out in season 10. But yeah, that's my thoughts, y'all. And then, like I said, to circle back onto my experiences personally about how Featurism can be put in play. People just as dark as you can partake in colorism as well. People think that you have to be light skinned, and it's like, no, you can be dark skinned and say some shit about somebody that is also dark skinned as well. Not that Christian has said anything of the sort, but I want to point this out because people think that it's impossible for dark skinned people to be colorist against other dark skinned people, and that's further from the truth. Because like I said, when I was young, even though when I had eczema and stuff and I had hyperpigmentation, I was still noticeably brown in color for the most part. And the people who called me African booty scratcher and said I was charcoal, this, that, and the third, were people blacker than me. And I'm talking about darker than my mother's complexion. Like, they was, Nima Tane's chest color. And I was like, how in the hell is you calling me darn on charcoal or whatever? And you're like 6 shades darker than me. So yeah, that goes to show that even if somebody is darker than you, or just as dark as you, that they can darn on still use colorist comments as a darn on dig. And then, of course, like I said, I also got the reverse Featurism comments because the majority of people around me had more of the ethnic, West African features. So to my light-skinned folks, to my dark-skinned folks who have more of what they call soft features, yeah, we get picked on too every now and again. And like I said, none of the shit is right. But historically, dark-skinned, unambiguous black women tend to get it the most. And in this instance, we're seeing the shit go down with OG. It's dead ass wrong. OG has the right to feel the way that she feels. And then the thing is, you're darn on dead adding insult to injury, asking the darn on victim in this case to darn on explain how you did her wrong. That's just like asking a rape victim because she was looking sexy one night and that she might have been, and it's not to that extent, but still y'all get the comparison in a way that it's like you're almost saying that it's the victim's obligation to darn gonna educate the darn gonna perpetrator of what you did wrong to make me do what I did to you. And then it's like, and on top of that, this is a year from the conversation that you've already had with Blue Taluzma, Melissa Ford, and Chantel from I'm Here for the Food. And now you get back on cameras and you act like that whole conversation didn't happen, that they done broke down colorism. And Evelyn, same thing for you too. They done had you on there as well. And then you was doggone deflected and everything else. Matter of fact, let me see how long your interview was. I want to say it was just as long. Let me see. Yep, yours was 1 hour and 1 minute and 13 seconds. So they had both of y'all motherfucking asses on there. And now y'all back on this darn on camera playing in front of our faces. Talking about y'all don't know why people feel the way that they do about you. Girl, bye. But anyways, y'all leave y'all thoughts down below on this shit. What are y'all thoughts on this entire situation? Are you team OG? Are you team Evelyn? I think we already know. Now, once again, if we do have some Evelyn folks up in here, and this is nothing against Evelyn. I do follow Evelyn, but once again, wrong is wrong. I don't give a damn. I follow you on social media, this, that, and the third. Honey, I still got to call out the bullshit. And you is dead ass wrong in this motherfucking situation. But for anybody who still thinks that darn on Evelyn is right, even after everything that has been exposed about, you know, Evelyn and Kristen being educated on this subject, and now they getting on the cameras and acting like they was not educated on this, and they just learning about Featurism when actually they was taught this way back in November of 2019. You can see why OG is over it and not playing the game. Because once again, they is trying to play on for the camera and making it seem like, once again, since it wasn't on the show, they don't know shit. OG is actually living her real life, and it's just happened to be on camera. And she's saying, okay, just because, you know, y'all don't want to show this or what done to transpire off camera, I'm not about to pretend that, you know, they wasn't made primitive of certain things just because the shit wasn't filmed because of the pandemic. But anyways, leave y'all thoughts down below. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see y'all soon with more videos. Mwah.